Are you ready for motivation, inspiration, and a good time? Get ready for the Tish Barnhart Show. Real issues, relatable topics, and real people. This is your time to learn how to navigate through life's ups and downs. Get motivated as we open up about personal struggles and triumphs so you can live the incredible life you're destined to live. Just remember, God has plans for your life, plans to give you hope and a future. Victory and breakthrough are just around the corner. Now let's get ready for a brand new segment of the Tish Barnhart Show.
Hey, welcome to the show, everybody. I am Tish Barnhart, the host of the Tish Barnhart Show. So listen, you guys, we just did not get into everything on that last segment. So we had to have a part two, you guys. So we want to welcome back to the show, First Lady Hashana Lockette, you guys. Let's welcome her. Hello. How are you, my friends? Yes, absolutely. And certainly we want to welcome back to the show, Attorney Michele McPhatter.
Glad to be back.
Yes, absolutely. I definitely want to thank you, ladies, so much for what you shared in our first segment. We just couldn't get into it all. And so here we are. All righty. And so for those of you that are tuning in with us and you did not get an opportunity to see the first segment, these two ladies here had an opportunity to kind of look at So You Want to Be a First Lady before everybody else did, And so First Lady Lockette wrote the foreword in this book. And by the way, I have it right here, you guys. See there? I think you might can see. I don't know. But I have it here. And also Attorney Michele McPhatter, she was the editor for So You Want to Be a First Lady. So we're definitely grateful to have her to be able to do that for us. So First Lady Lockette, I wanted to hone in on something that you wrote in your foreword real quick. And so I'm just going to read that little segment, that little pinch. Sure. And then if you can just piggyback on that for us, it'd be fabulous. So what she said, you guys, was the writing is a poignant reminder that unless one knows for sure they are ready to take on the good, bad, and the ugly that encompasses the role of a first lady, I admonish you to seek God for his wisdom and counsel to prepare you for this sometimes tumultuous journey. Could you enlighten us to why you said that?
I said that because I think often we see these pictures and these high profile lifestyles of, men and women in ministry and the fancy clothes, having everything that they need and sitting front and center, the big hat. And we think, sometimes you on the outside looking in, you can, so many women may be envious and think that a first lady has this wonderful life. And the truth, it's so far from the truth. Exactly. And I think every first lady or everyone who comes in contact or has a personal relationship should know that it's going to take lots of prayer, lots of wisdom, lots of balance in life, and have very strong communication skills and just being very prayerful because you deal with so much, not just the church. You're the first lady to the husband, you're the first lady, you're the pastor's wife, rather. You're the first lady to the church, and in between. And God forbid if you have children, your own personal family. Right. And so much of the pastor's life is so demanding of the church. Right. Not just the preaching, but running the church, the business. Making sure they get along. Leaders get along, and they have to play referee. So it's just not this glamorous life that some people can, think and view it to be. So it takes a very strong individual and one who understands who she is and understands what her role is to every person who's a part of the ministry. So that's really where I was coming from with that particular statement.
Uh-huh. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you're so right because oftentimes people look at us as the first ladies, as if we don't go through or experience anything. Which is most definitely far from the truth. It's like we have to have
Exactly.
this picture perfect, life, and the picture perfect answers and responses, even because you and I both know that dealing with the parishioners sometimes can certainly be a quite a task, because oftentimes they don't always come for the word. They might be coming
Yeah.
for your man,
Yeah.
might be coming with a whole lot of other things and baggage and different things, with them. And so oftentimes, it's like you said in your forward, a tight rope walk, to be able to walk through. And, I am so grateful that, of course, you chose to do the forward in the book because I know that
It's an
many other
honor.
certainly will be able to resonate with that.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Absolutely. So now I know that I think we've lost Michelle for a
Oh
minute.
no.
She'll be back
Oh,
in here with us. Yeah.
okay.
We have to love technology sometimes. Technology,
Gotta love it.
tends to fail us at sometimes.
Yes.
So we will continue carrying on, with the show until she gets back in here. And so
Okay.
now, was there a question I understand that you wanted to ask me about? So you want to be a first lady?
Yeah, I was wondering if First Lady Smith, if she was able to identify with some of her maybe her own emotional or psychological deficiencies and how that plays a role in some of the decision making that she was confronted with.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome
Absolutely, absolutely.
back.
Yes, welcome back, my friend.
Thank you. I don't know what happened with my connection, so I'm on the
It's okay.
different way.
Look, it's okay. Things happen. Things happen. So, First Lady was just asking me a question. And so I am going to answer that question about First Lady Smith there. And so, most definitely, I think that First Lady Smith had many emotions, going on during her tenure being in ministry with Pastor Smith. And so, oftentimes, dealing with the particular struggles as we see in So You Want to Be a First Lady, it can cause a person to develop low self-esteem. It can cause a person to suffer from verbal abuse, mental abuse, and things like that. And so sometimes a person can begin to start taking the back seat on their own personal role or own personal call to ministry because of the things that may be being said, concerning
Yeah.
her or what have you. And sometimes what I find is that many of the women, can find fault with the first lady with or without cause, right? And sometimes those faults, they find are only because they're trying to get close to your man, right? You're sitting in a seat that they want. And so they will make up all kinds of stuff or make you have to be a big monster or whatever, because there is a hidden agenda there. And then so we do also have, first ladies that do need to work on some things, and I understand now more so than ever. Um, I think about this. Why do they call us first ladies? Because oftentimes we are the last lady. We're the last lady because everything else comes before us. And we sacrifice so many things for our spouses, for the church, for the parishioners, or what have you. And oftentimes that first lady can lose herself, lose her identity in trying to take care of everyone else and not focusing on the assignment that God has actually placed within her. And so I believe that First Lady Smith, began to lose some of that that God gave her. Because she was called to ministry as well within that. And so when you have so many things toppled on top, this after this, after this, after this, I'm surprised that First Lady Smith didn't have a nervous breakdown, to be honest with you. And so
Yeah.
I believe that God allowed her to be able to face a lot of the issues and things that she experienced here with a lot of grace. And when I say grace, meaning because she did not. act out of character in some instances, whereas she possibly could have. And I know that some of the people that have read the book already, have called and said, "Girl, ain't no way. If I was this first lady, this is what I would have done." Listen, no way, no way. Like, what was First Lady Smith thinking? Okay, honey, go for you. All right. So I want to ask you ladies, as you were reading, because Michele, you edited, of course, and we went back and forth on it a whole lot. And of course, Lady Lockette, as you were reading through to prepare to do your forward, as you guys were reading, if you don't mind, when you saw the things that First Lady Smith was going through or enduring as a woman yourself, what would you have done? Do you think you would have taken on some of First Lady's graces, or I would love to hear from you guys what you would have done. I don't care who goes first.
I'm gonna let Michele go first.
First Lady loves passing the baton, don't she?
No. Listen, I have a feeling I'm just gonna say ditto, ditto, ditto.
Well, I mean, it does take, I think, a certain amount of grace that the way you wrote past, First Lady Smith, how she went through it. But no, with some of those scenes, the basic throw down shell that grew up in little country town. Well, no, the way of First Lady Smith. I am an attorney, although I didn't use those skills as much with editing your book. I'm just a woman. I'm married. I have children. And to see myself in the book, there would have been a throwdown at the church. And there would have been, and as I was saying, I was joking. I said, I do criminal defense work. So I would calculate, okay, there's assault battery, 12 months probation. And a fine, and I'm gonna be okay with that. I don't even have to go to jail, but somebody's gonna get some hands laid. Okay, that's real.
Yes, that's real. Absolutely.
You calculate that out. What would it take? I would be okay. So I would be okay. And then you think about all those things come to your mind. You don't want to be physical, but you would physically attack, and then you're gonna run to the bank account and clear out the money. I mean, let's be real about how these things. I mean, is that real? Okay. I mean, that's just. I think that's what a lot of women would do.
Absolutely.
The ones that are not, they're not saved. They don't have the grace. They're just going there mentally. Maybe they wouldn't act out on it, but they sure would be thinking it. That's my response.
Okay. All right, First Lady.
That's not very refined. It's not refined.
I love it.
Listen, I wholeheartedly agree with Michele. Okay? but real talk though, the operative word is grace.
Right.
That when you do carry the grace, you are anointed with the grace to go through. And I think that makes all the difference.
Yes.
So many times we'll say what I would never do and what would never happen to me, until God identifies and chooses you to go through it. It's a different song.
Absolutely.
So Lady Smith was graced and anointed, and she was chosen by God to go through what she did with such grace for a greater cause, for a greater purpose.
Yes.
So the natural woman, and I feel like, supernatural strength and supernatural patience. It's like Job, right? Who could really go through all of that and come out with the
absolutely.
I will never say anything bad about God, and he's. I mean, really, the human side of us would do that. But when God has chosen us for a specific purpose, we go through with such grace and with such anointed ability to withstand, and weather the
Yes.
storm. So, this was all for the glory of God, because God knows we just would not have
Well,
been able to.
the other thing
Like
is,
clank, clank.
and for real talk, as I was editing, Lady Smith was very careful about her children. These are real life instances when you're confronted with infidelity, when you're confronted with a narcissistic partner, you have children and you have finances, and you have to figure out, where will I go? What will I do?
Yes.
My children won't have their dad around.
Right.
Those are real life situations, and they segue perfectly to what Lockette was saying. Yes, the natural part of us would want to go to the street, but they have to take a step back, and you got to look at how First Lady Smith did it. She weathered it with the grace that God had bestowed upon her, and she also, for those of us that are just looking in this lens of this woman in this position, these are real life factors you got to go through every day.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And they're very important, and they make a difference between whether you're going to stay in that marriage, that boyfriend, that long-term relationship, where there's some love comfort, or you're going to strike it out on your own.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, I just wanted to add this one thing too, Michele. And the vows say for better or worse. Death was part and all that. So, some people really take that to heart.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because, I think that, First Lady Smith, as we state in the book, she didn't want to be a divorce statistic, so she wanted to do, whatever, she could to keep, the marriage together, the ministry going, and all of that stuff for the sake of her children, her own sanity, and different things like that. But listen, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back in a moment.
Awesome.
The moment you've all been waiting for. The book by master storyteller Tish Barnhart. So you want to be a first lady? Well, her life isn't always what it seems. Beyond the veil lies the deceit, the lies, and the manipulation, featuring the distraught Carol Smith, master manipulator Leroy Smith, and the sneaky, conniving harlots and Jezebels using their immoral, seductive flattery to destroy the man of God, his marriage, and disrupt the ministry. Order your copy now on Amazon and all other retail outlets.
Diva Bellme is one of the newest med spas in the Charlotte area, offering the latest treatments in medical aesthetics, including Botox, dermal filler injections, and dermaplaning, plus PDO smooth and lifting threads to reverse signs of aging. We believe you are a beautiful individual, and we want to help you preserve your beauty. Diva Bellme is also set up as a mobile concierge service, which gives us the ability to travel to you and take care of your medical aesthetic needs in your space. For more information or to schedule a consultation, visit our website.
Attention ministry leaders. Have you ever considered growing your ministry with television? Well, the Daily Gospel Network could be what you've been looking for. As one of the nation's largest Christian broadcasting companies, the Daily Gospel Network broadcasts all over the world on popular streaming platforms like Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV. If you're looking to grow and reach more people, the Daily Gospel Network could be your solution.
Are you looking for an affordable and reliable cleaning company for your home or business? Well, look no further. A1 Valet is your solution. No job is too big or small. A1 Valet handles it all. From restaurants to commercial office space and residential sites, A1 Valet has got you covered. With years of experience, you can rest assured that your home or business is in great hands. It's one of the reasons our clients have been with us for years. So what are you waiting for? Give A1 Valet a call and let us take your cleaning worries away.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. We are back with Lady Hashana Lockette here, and it looks like we lost Attorney McPhatter again.
Oh, no.
So I think she might be trying to get back in there. So we had ended up with a question, of course, that you wanted to ask me about First Lady Smith in the book, with her emotions and the things that she might have experienced and how she came through that. And so I believe that Michele had a question for me as well. And I think that was along the lines of why I chose to put wisdom nuggets at the end of each chapter, as well as speak to the other woman. She kind of gave me her question ahead of time, so I know it, though she's not here to ask it. So I'm going to go ahead and respond to that. So I believe that God wanted to provide those wisdom nuggets at the end of each chapter, because say, hey, we're getting the juice, of the story here, but he wanted to be able to provide the wisdom nuggets. Hey, there she goes.
I apologize for these
no worries at all. No worries at all. So I'm answering that question you wanted to know about the First Lady's response there with the wisdom nuggets, as well as why write to the other woman. And so I believe that God wanted to give those wisdom nuggets so that he could clean up really the body of Christ, because there's so many scandals going on now within the church across the country, not just in the U.S., but across the country. I had mentioned on our last segment, the young lady that I was speaking to was married to an Islamic preacher, in whom she had to worship the ground that he walked on. And so as she read that first two chapters there from Kindle, she's like, your story is my story. And so this is why the wisdom nuggets are necessary, because we want the pastor to be able to walk away with some things that he might be able to see that he's doing to shift in his own life, to see how, what he might be putting the First Lady through, just different things like that. If you apply these wisdom nuggets, it will bring some balance to what's going on, as well as allow you to clean things up, because God says he's coming back for a church without spot or wrinkle. And so therefore, we've got to, clean some things up. And I believe that's what he wants to do. I oftentimes wondered why God would say judgment begins first in the house of God. Like, well, why judge us? We're the saints, we're saved. But see, but he knows what goes on behind the closed door. And so this is why he wants to be able to clean this up. So this isn't about trying to bash, anyone or anything like that, because the reality is that we experience real life situations, and so we can fall, because like First Lady Lockette said on our first segment, that the pastor and First Lady, they're put on a pedestal as if they can't do anything wrong, like they're not human, and we are. And so the thing is, though, now if we fall into these temptations or what have you, which we could be subject to do, and some have, right? But the thing is that must we continue on in sin as if there's nothing going to happen to us, or we don't have any accountability or anything like that, So I believe this is what God really wants to bring home here, so that we can gather these nuggets. Now, why speak to the other woman? So we are speaking to the other woman because, see, when a woman goes into a ministry and she sees in your husband, who's the apostle, the bishop, or whomever he is, the pastor, she's looking at him because she's single, and she sees in him what she wants in her own spouse, right? And so it's easy for them to become fascinated, and mesmerized with them. And so then the enemy begins to talk to them, oh, you can have that spot, and they will do just about anything to get it, right? And so the why of talking to the other woman is so that, listen, sweetie, there is a man that God has for you, but he's not your pastor, okay? He's not your married pastor. He's not your married bishop or whatever, right? And so we want the other woman to understand, listen, you are valuable, like First Lady said, and the other thing, you are valuable. Value yourself enough to be no man's side chick, right? To be no man's side piece, because at the end of the day, if he's coming over there and he's spending time with you, he's only there for a few minutes, right? And then guess where he's going? He's going back home to his wife. So how does that make you feel as the other woman, right? To see him leaving you, going to be with the person that you desire to be. So you have to value yourself in that. So God gives some great nuggets to the other women that want to walk in those shoes. And we're going to have a segment coming up with a lady that's going to be on here who most definitely wanted to be the first lady. And in fact, she was married at the time and going to a church, and the pastor and her got together. Okay. Both their spouses and got together. And then she became the first lady because she said, I'm going to have sex with him more than she did. I'm going to love him better than she did. I'm going to this, that, and the other. Ain't none of that going to be happening over here. And see, these are the things that the lies that the enemy tells you that you can do better than the first lady. And chances are you can't. You cannot walk in her shoes because she's been divinely and anointed for that position, not you. Right. She has, and so oftentimes whenever they get over there and start walking in it, it's a lot, because now guess what? The same way you tried to bait that man and got that man, you're now going to be looking over your own shoulder, right? Because you're going to want him to give you all of that attention that you were taking from the first lady, right? So it's real talk. So that's why we talked to the other woman in there to get her to understand, that you do have a role and walk in that role within the ministry, but it's not the role of the first lady, not by far. Okay, so you got to know your role. And so God, I love how he does it, because he wants the other women to know as well that, he loves them. He desires for them to have, a mate or what have you. And he gives some good wisdom there. So listen, I want to thank you ladies once again. And real quick, if there was something that you could leave with the listening audience, about 30 seconds, what would that be, First Lady?
Know who you are and value who you are. Whether whoever you're married to, whether, as Michele was saying, it's not limited to men of the cloth. You can, any person of influence or high power. Just as a woman, know your self-worth, know you are valued, know you are loved by God, you were, wonderfully made, and you have, everything that you need. God has given it to you. And you don't have to feel helpless and hopeless.
Absolutely.
And I love what you said just now, when you said, know your role. If my role is not to play second, don't.
Right. Absolutely. Don't be second. Absolutely.
So we have two things. We have slow your role, and now you just created another one, know your role.
Know your role. Absolutely. Attorney McPhatter, how about you?
Patent that.
Well, just very quickly, I absolutely agree with what both of you have said, that those things really come through very strongly in the book. And if you are in the role of a First Lady Smith, then do some deep reflection. And this book will help you do that. Deeply reflect on where you are and make steps to either to make the best decisions for you and your situation. This book can help you do that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, listen, ladies, it has been a pleasure speaking with you guys. Listen, we had to have a part 2 here. Oh, my goodness. And so for those of you that are out there and you have not purchased the book yet, listen, we want you to go and pick up your copy. Okay. You need to pick it up for yourself, your pastor, whomever. Okay. Pick the copy up. It is going to be a blessing to you, your family, and just may save your own marriage. Okay. And so I'm really, really believing for God to do some miraculous things through this book and really help, out the body of Christ here. And that's really what it's about. So listen, you guys, thank you again for tuning in with us. Thank you, First Lady Lockette. Thank you, Attorney McPhatter. And listen, you guys, thank you. And tune in for next week's episode. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Looking for inspiration, motivation, and the good news of Jesus Christ? Look no further. The Daily Gospel Network has what you need. With more than 300 ministries from all over the country broadcasting every week, you're sure to get your dose of spirit-filled encouragement from the great programs on the Daily Gospel Network. Catch the Daily Gospel Network on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, all mobile devices, and the internet. Thanks for tuning in to the Tish Barnhart Show. We pray that you were motivated, inspired, and blessed. Tune in next week for another great segment as we bring you thought-provoking topics, great guests, and tons of encouragement. Until next time, remember, I can do all things through Christ, who strengthens me.